who has joined us this morning. I have Toby Willison here with me. He's going to introduce himself in a moment. He's come to Eastbourne, works for Southern Water. We're here to talk about water quality. He might even have been in the water this morning. So Toby, we've just met with our swimmers, but tell us, what is your job title with Southern Water and something of your experience today?
So I'm Toby Willison, I'm Director of Quality and Environment at Southern Water. Previous part of my career I spent 15 years at the Environment Agency, so I've seen both the regulatory side and the operator side, and as you say this morning I've met with a local swimming group, got in the sea with them. It was quite cold actually. You know, we've had a fantastic, if quite challenging, conversation.
Quite right, on both counts, and a really important conversation. Some of those insights we're looking to share here. Why? Because there's been some concern about our water quality, but also there is an action plan, and it's really important that we all understand what it is that you have planned and how we're essentially going to rise from where we're at right now back through to good and excellent, because you will have seen in this beautiful town of ours just how beautiful is our marine environment, and it is something of mission critical importance that we see that water quality return. So many questions rest on the plans to come. So what can you tell us about what Southern Water's part to play in seeing our water quality rise?
So first of all, we're doing loads. So across the region, we're currently investing about £2 billion to improve the overall state of our treatment works, our pipes, our processes. So that will have a sort of a baseline of increasing our performance, which will reduce the number of pollution events, reduce leakage. So there's that sort of ongoing activity. Specifically in Eastbourne, where we're really concerned about the decline in the quality of the bathing water. Working with the Environment Agency and the local authority to really track down why that is happening, because there is no correlation between when samples are taken on the beach and either spilling from our sewer overflows, or indeed the tides or rainfall. So tracking that down, and we've been doing that through using CCT cameras to look at the surface water in the sewer network, to look for where there may be misconnections, so where foul material may be bypassing the treatment process, and to look at solutions. So that's happening in the here and now. We've been talking about the work that we've been doing and the work that we're doing on that. We've been talking about how we increase the monitoring of water quality, and we've been talking about how we will equip the swimming group with a handheld monitor.
I think this is a really good way forward. I think one of the issues that we're actually dealing with is been the serious uptick in monitoring. We now know far more around our water quality than ever we did. I think from 2010 to present day, we've come from something like 6-7% of outflows were monitored. Now we're at...
So in the southeast we're at 98.5%. So we've got almost complete coverage. We will have complete coverage by the end of this year. So that allows us to be, frankly, the more data you have, the more information you have, the better you can operate your network, our network. So we've also deployed 22,000 sewer level monitors. So these are monitors that look at the level of foul material in our sewers. We then feed that back to our control centre, goes directly into our control centre, and we're then using artificial intelligence to learn about how that system is operating, and through that learning we can then operate the system better. We can be proactive in when we can begin to see blockages happening, for example. We can be proactive in maintenance to stop pollutions happening.
Can I ask, because there's a number of questions on exactly this, and the challenge that is put to you from many people, including Tony and Malcolm and Julie, real-time data, because what you're describing is the information you need to manage the sort of, you know, the network, but local people, visitors, they need data to manage and to plan around their own you know, enjoyment of the water. So what can you tell us about real-time data and any of the improvements to come?
So we were the first water company to put in place a real-time spill app, Beach Boy, our Beach Boy system. Now what Beach Boy does is it alerts people to when a spill has occurred from one of our spill points. But what that doesn't do is it doesn't tell us about the water quality. It tells us when a spill has occurred. What we need to be doing now is to be evolving to sort of next generation, which is about actually real-time water quality monitoring.
Sure. That's quite an important difference. Does that then suggest or take us to that pilot in Chichester and this new Proteus
So at the moment
technology?
we're trialling, as you say, this new technology at just off Havant and just off Whitstable on the North Kent coast. Specifically, this kit measures bacterial quality in the water in real time, and we believe, provided we can prove that the kit works, we believe that is the way forward in terms of giving citizens the real-time information to inform choices about, you know, whether to swim, whether not to swim, canoe, windsurf,
choices,
whatever.
and also then the investment and the right strategies further down the line. I think you've just had a particularly genius suggestion from one of our swimmers about how we might get that new groundbreaking technology to Eastbourne.
So Richard, as you say, one clearly really informed individual. Richard thinks, and it sounds perfectly feasible to me, that we should be able to deploy this kit from Piers. Now, at the moment, we're having to do it on buoys. Now, if any of you know about putting buoys out in the sea, it's quite a well-regulated process, and it's not that straightforward. But if you could do it off a pier and make the kit work, and we've discussed how, you know, we might use Eastbourne as a sort of a pilot site. You know, I think that would be a real step forward, because I think it'd be cheaper and it'd be easier and potentially quicker. So, you know, what's not to like?
Absolutely that, because one of the questions that came through really strongly from our swimmers is around the urgency of our situation. So there is an Eastbourne Plan.
There is an Eastbourne Plan, indeed, and you know we've shared an early draft of that with you, and we'll share a more up to date one.
Fantastic. And some of those challenges are around managing surface water, and that issue, that shared combined sewage system, is really what we're grappling with here. How to manage surface water. Can you tell us something about the complexities of that then, and what some of the interventions might look like, so we can avoid any of these spills in the future?
Yeah, well, I think so. We all need to get a bit more comfortable talking about poo and pee. You know, not a great subject, but at the moment, you know, the system that we have in this country, you know, our waste material goes into our foul sewer system, and we have a combined system, so a lot of surface water, runoff, rainfall also gets into that system as well, and at times can overwhelm the capacity either of the network or our treatment works to deal with that foul material. And when that happens, there's a relief valve, these CSOs, that are allowed to spill to the environment to stop material backing up and flooding people's homes and
a lot of people have said,
shops,
just stop using the overflows, stop using this toxic practice, stop now. What would be the result of that? Because we all want to see a world and an ocean that isn't used for this purpose. But if we were to stop using overflows, what happens next?
So if we just went ahead and blocked overflows, what would happen would be that during times of heavy rainfall, material would block up or back up through the system and would be popping up in homes, schools, through toilets and through sinks. So the challenge for us, because we totally get that CSOs are not they're not the right technology for this time. Is to get surface water out of the foul system. Because if we can stop surface water getting into the foul system, then we've got more than enough capacity to treat the foul material. And that's what we've been working on incredibly hard over the last 18 months to pathfind, to trial what the solutions are. And some of the solutions are really simple stuff like, water butts, like rain gardens, like sustainable urban drainage systems, creating wetlands. Solutions that provide benefits that go way beyond managing surface water and wastewater.
Because one question particularly rests on that, and it's around housing. Because people who've written in with their questions, they understand the impact of new builds on the system that won't cope. So what can you say around some of the potential reforms or changes? What do we need to see? Because we need homes, and there's recognition in the questions of that. We need homes, but how do we make sure that they don't add to an already pressured system?
So there's two parts to this, I think. So the first part is the overall planning system, and there are some things that we think need to change, and we've been lobbying for. So, for example, at the moment, builders, developers all have the right to connect. It's called the right to connect to both the foul water sewage system, but also to get water as well. We don't think that's right. We think there shouldn't be a right to connect. And also, we're not a statutory consultee on every development. We are a statutory consultee on the strategic development plans, but we believe we should be a statutory consultee on each individual development. Now, what I understand is the government are looking to make those changes. I think that really needs to happen quickly.
Important changes.
And then the other aspect is we all just need to be really careful about what we put down toilets. It should really. I know this is not.
What would we see if we came to the wastewater treatment works? What would we see?
So you'd see a lot of foul material coming in, but you'd also see a lot of wet wipes. You'd see a lot of sanitary products. You'd see a lot of plastic products, and now all of that material potentially causes blockages on our network, particularly when you combine it with a lot of fat going down sinks. That combination of fat, wet wipes is lethal for our pumping stations, and it's the one thing that causes real problems for us on our network.
So we've got a part to play.
Yeah, totally.
If you imagine people sitting around the table.
It's our pee and poo. Sorry.
In brief, if we brought all the partners around the table to really wrestle with water quality and take it to the place we want it to be, who's all sitting around that table? Who are all the partners? Who are involved in this? Because we're very focused on Southern Water, and you've got a really important role. You've got an important work to do. But who else? Who are the partners? So the
partners we're getting together, and actually I can see this working really well in Eastbourne, is ourselves, because we have a critical role to play. We do not shy away from that, and we know we've got to get better. So we've got a role to play. The local authorities have a role to play. They're responsible for many of the surface water sewers. They've got the planning authority role, so local authorities are critical. The highways agencies are often got an important role to play, because much of the runoff comes from roads. Citizens,
Yeah.
We're the ones who are responsible for what's going down.
As previously described.
Yeah. And government does as well, because government, has a really important role to play in, the sort of legislative changes that will, make this easier for everyone.
Yeah. And off what course? The
Off
regulator.
what the economic regulator.
And your former bosses. So here's a cheeky question from Ray. Hope Ray you're watching. Here's your question coming up. So Toby, you spent 10 years with the Environment Agency, and through this you will have wide experience of compliance. If you were still working for the Environment Agency, what aspect at Southern Water would concern you the most? Big question.
Oh, Ray, that is a
Yeah.
so.
Right, Spill the beans.
So I'm going to say I'll give two answers to this. So the thing that would be concerning me most is actually a water industry issue rather than a Southern Water issue. So how is the water industry in total moving together to reduce the impact of CSOs, reduce pollution? So how's the water industry cleaning up its whole act? But if I was still in the Environment Agency, the thing I would be all over Southern Water on is I would be saying to Southern Water, you've just been taken over by a new majority shareholder, Macquarie Asset Management. They've invested an additional about an additional 1 billion into Southern Water. Show me the difference that's making. That's the thing that I would be saying from the regulator. I'd be saying, Southern Water, show me you're improving.
Okay, now you change hats. so yeah, discernible investment, discernible improvement, and that's what we want to see clearly. The next question, because we've covered real-time data. Because that's obviously very important. And on that real-time data, obviously there's a lot to talk about. The apps, it's really important, website information, this new Proteus kind of project potentially off our Eastbourne Pier. But there'll be a whole group of people out there who won't be with us today. They won't be online at all. And I'm most anxious that people aren't that digital divide, and that you're not disenfranchised from important information and awareness because you're not online. What can be done? What examples are there elsewhere around a very visible physical marker, so that local people who love to swim and visitors who come to our town, the place to visit, according to Time Out 2023, just saying, so we're ahead of the crowd. It's only April the 1st, unfortunate day, but it's only April and you're here already. What might we look to in Eastbourne so we can provide that important information and reassurance, so people can understand where there are concerns and when there aren't?
So again, I think this is where ourselves, the local authority, the Environment Agency, have got a critical role to play. So we're looking at how we develop and deploy that real-time water quality monitoring data. The Environment Agency already do monitoring, and they publish the results of that. And then local authorities have a responsibility for signage around the physical signage around beaches. So it's getting the three parties really joined up to deal with what I recognise as a real challenge. That you say, that digital divide.
Yeah, well, we must make sure people aren't left behind, because there are very many people who love to swim. I met a young student yesterday at East Sussex College, and that was her after meeting question. She wants to know that it's safe to swim. So, Toby, in Eastbourne today, is it safe to swim?
I've been in the water in Eastbourne today. I have swum here today. It is safe to swim. Personally, I think the marine environment is it is transformed from the marine environment that I experienced as a 17-year-old. When the water industry was privatised, just 30% of the foul material that was produced by us, reference previous conversation, was treated. Now 95% of that material is treated.
So water quality is better today?
Water quality is inestimably better today than it was 30 years ago, than it was 20 years ago, than it was 10 years ago. Have we got more to do? Absolutely we have.
And is there a plan?
And there is a plan, and real-time monitoring is a really important part of that plan to give people confidence about when is really safe to swim, because we shouldn't think that the environment is always safe, because it's not. You know, the environment is not like your local swimming pool. It's not chlorinated. Yeah. So
actually, one of our swimmers this morning said that was one of the things that they love most. Not any element of being unsafe to swim, but just that every time you go out, you have a different experience, whether it's summer or winter, and the water and they described today how amazing it is, and they want for other people to
it was lovely.
It was
a bit cold, but it was lovely.
Warm welcome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today in Eastbourne. I hope this will be the first of many meetings and conversations as we go on, because there is important work to do ahead, and there's a very important quality for us to chase down. And I think I'll be speaking for everybody here when I say that nothing less than excellent is the ambition that we want to achieve.
That's our ambition as well. Yeah, we're shoulder to shoulder on that.
Fantastic, good to hear you.
Did you want to take a couple of the questions before we stop? Or?
If you have a few more questions.
There are a couple on WhatsApp on your phone.
Wow,
from people
okay.
Watching. So just behind you.
I thought we'd cover the ground. Okay, scroll. This is very live, and I'm so polishing up. Okay, so the Times on Wednesday stated, in relation to storm overflow permit breaches, that Southern Water was by far the worst offender, with 195 breaches in 2022. Campaigners said that the firm, which was fined a record 90 million in 2021, that related to those historic breaches, should face serious sanctions. I'd like to know why this is happening and what Southern Water are going to do to sort it out. I think we've pretty much covered that.
So we have covered a lot of that.
On that precise reporting.
The only thing I would add to that is, I mean, I haven't checked the Times this morning, but there should be a letter in the Times from me which just challenges some of the basis of that data. That's a little bit of a side issue though. The fundamental, should we be driving better performance, reducing the number of spills, reducing the number of pollutions? Absolutely, and we are fully focused on that. That's why we're investing 2 billion in this 5-year period. That's why we've got these ambitious plans for reducing spills from CSOs. That is why that's why we've been having the conversations that we've been having this morning. This is top priority for us.
And that absolutely echoes it, doesn't it? The point that James is making there. Catherine mentioned about alerts being delayed or late. We were talking about that with the Beach Boy app, and how the ambition is for it to be real time. And that is the Proteus project that we're looking to come to.
Well, Proteus is part of that, but the spills data that's currently feeding into Beach Boy, we strive to get that as near real time as possible, managing the risks of either false positives or false negatives, neither of which are particularly helpful.
One quick one here, and I think a good one, because he asked, this is Russell, asked, when are we going to see improvements? And of course there is a plan that is short, mid and long term. The long term is going to necessitate massive investment, but how quickly can we see, when will we see improvements? Because you're chasing down in Eastbourne, through the plan, some of these misconnections. So how quickly do you hope we will see some change in our water quality stats?
So I believe at Eastbourne, I'm not going to make myself a hostage fortune because the because the weather plays a big factor in this.
Yeah.
But I think we will see changes in the bathing water status of Eastbourne. Really, it's not this season, next season. I think it'll happen that quickly. In terms of our overall performance, the Environment Agency rate performance on a star basis 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
4 being best, 1 being worst.
Yeah.
Last year we were 1 star. I expect that 2021 we were 1 star. I expect for 2022 we'll be 2 star, and our aim is to get to 3 star by 2024. And we've got the plans and the investment to do that. So we're on that improvement journey.
Okay. So and we should see incremental change then.
Absolutely.
We should see steady
Absolutely.
progress.
And
So from here on in, it's up, an uplift all the
Yeah.
way.
And I see shed loads of data that actually supports that that improvement is happening. What we need to see is that translating into outcomes for customers and in the environment.
Yeah, sure. Okay, good to know. Well, thank you again for the last wave of questions, and until next time.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.